Hey guys, what's up? We're going to talk about Dublin today because that is the next place that we went. We took a ferry. If you remember, I was talking about that. Really not fun ferry, really crowded. And I have to warn you right from the beginning of this video that Dublin was not our favorite place. We have some interesting stories from there, but it was not our favorite place. And I am very sorry if any of you are from Dublin, but I did not like it very much. It is not your fault, of course, but it is just my honest impression of our time there. So anyway, on with it. So the ferry was late getting us to Dublin, and it got us there right at rush hour traffic. So the bus that we got on was stuck in traffic for a very, very long time. So much so that we decided to get off the bus earlier than usual and walked about 1,000,000 blocks to get to our hostel. Now, when I booked this stuff ahead of time, I didn't know exactly what part of town was a good part of town. I didn't know anything, and so I just booked things either because it was, had the right stuff, like internet and kitchen or whatever. Sometimes if it was the only hostel with a kitchen, or if it was closer to the things we needed. I don't remember all the reasons that I chose some of these places. Sometimes it was just the least expensive one, and Dublin actually is a really expensive place, surprisingly. And so we walked 1,000,000 blocks to our crappy hostel, and this whole time it wasn't raining, it was misting. Now, I've told you before, it's rainy where I'm from, but we don't often have days where it's misting, so it was really bizarre. It was just like at the grocery store. If you guys go to grocery stores where the vegetables are and they have the little mist that comes out to keep the vegetables from getting all wilty, it was like that, but in the air. It was really weird. So we walked 1,000,000 blocks through mist, and then our hostel, it was a pit, man. It was one of the worst ones we stayed in the whole trip. It did not have internet at all. Not just you have to pay for internet. It just didn't have internet, which was weird. It did have a kitchen, which the kitchen was okay, but that didn't make up for the rest of the hostel being really weird. You weren't supposed to do laundry in the sinks, which I can kind of understand, but that really, really sucked for us at this time because we had things we needed to wash. And we were really, really low on food supplies, groceries and stuff. That was the lowest we got the whole trip, besides right before we came home. And the market that was really close by the hostel was crap. Also, it was a little mini mart that did not have hardly anything. So we were a little bit disappointed. And when we got there, after we settled in, I decided I was going to go take a shower. That did not work out because I get ready to take my shower, and it was the push button showers. And I push the button, and a little tiny trickle comes out. And it wasn't just it's a little trickle, you can figure it out. It was such a weak trickle that it actually came back and dripped down the wall. It wasn't even strong enough to come out of the little pipe. It wasn't even a shower head. It was a pipe sticking out of the wall. I was upset, so I had to do the face wash in the sink, which strangely enough the sink had fire hose pressure. So I think there's something wrong with the pipes. But anyway, skip the shower for the time being. And that night, I don't think we really did anything that day other than, kind of look for a store. That night, we got to bed and thought we were going to get some sleep, and that wasn't going to happen either. There were some boys about 3 doors down from our room, a bunch of teenage boys, and they were from Belfast, I found out, because I got up to yell at them to shut up. They were super drunk, and they were all yelling at the top of their lungs, having a giant party in their room, because they invited Dodger and I to it the next day. It was just going on all night long. They had gone to a Daft Punk concert, I think, so they were just flipping out, partying, drinking it up in their room all night long. And I got up to tell them to be quiet, and they had a shoe in their door to keep their door open. That's why all the noise was coming out. So I at least got them to close the door. And I thought, okay, now we're going to get some sleep. No chance of sleep, because We had a 6-person room, and the 5th person was this really quiet, cute little French girl, and we thought, oh, maybe there'll just be 5 of us. Nope. Probably about 3 a.m., our 6th roommate, or the 6th person in the room, came stumbling in, reeking of alcohol, like just coming out of this dude's pores, and he crashed out on his bed and proceeded to snore the loudest I've ever heard anybody snore in my entire life. It was the most ridiculous thing. It was like rattling my teeth, and I am totally not exaggerating. He was rattling the windows that were like 10 feet away. That is not an exaggeration. It was actually happening. And he would like crescendo. He'd like snore and get louder and louder and louder. And then he'd stop for like a minute, and then it would start all over again. So and he was too drunk to wake himself up. Oh, it was so ridiculous. We got the crappiest night's sleep. The next morning, showers were still a no-go. And so Dodger and I were like at the sink, washing our face and stuff. It was about 7 in the morning. And one of the Belfast boys came drunkenly stumbling into the bathroom, the girls' bathroom, mind you, because their room was right next to it, in his boxers. And he was like, oh, whoops, sorry, and turns around to leave. And then he turns back around and he says, hey, do you want to come to a party in our room? And we were like, no, absolutely not. No, thank you. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then he leaves. But he kept coming back. And then other boys kept coming back while we were getting ready, like brushing our hair or whatever, to pester us the whole time. And then finally it was like, at least just come say hi to us. And we're like, oh my god, okay. So their room was right there, so we poked our heads in to say hi, and there was like 8 of them all talking at the same time. Crazy people. We don't even know what they were saying. They were introducing themselves. They were snapping pictures of us. They asked Dodger to marry them. It was ridiculous. So we were like, hi, and then we left. And then we went to see some sights after the grocery store. We stocked up at the grocery store. And then after the grocery store, sorry if this is kind of scattered sounding, by the way. And we don't have very many pictures because we still had not been able to charge the camera battery yet. So I have some pictures, but not a ton. I'm very sorry. And I didn't use my 35 millimeter. I think maybe I ran out of film. I don't remember. So anyway, grocery store. Then we went to see the Natural History Museum, which was awesome. It was so cool, aside from the fact that it was free. It was super, super cool. Had bog people, if you've ever heard of like the preserved leathery looking bog people that they find in peat bogs. Oh, they were so cool. Some of them still had hair, and it was like red hair too. It was really creepy, but awesome. And then there were like remains of Viking ships, a lot of Viking artifacts, and then just other random, like a lot of religious artifacts. Just really awesome stuff. It was a badass museum. Loved it. And then after that, we thought we were going to see the Book of Kells, but it was like €10 per person to go see it. We were like, nah, we don't really care that much. Then we thought we were going to go to Dublin Castle, but it was expensive to get into, so we satisfied ourselves with just looking at, there's like sand sculptures out on like the courtyard area outside of Dublin Castle, so those were pretty cool. And we saw a bunch of murals and stuff along the way too when we were just strolling around. And then there was some really cool like street art. I think it was chalk, and I do have a picture of that, and the sand sculptures. But yeah, we didn't do a whole lot. We found out lots of things were really, really expensive. Like, we didn't even go to a pub in Dublin. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like $8 for a domestic pint of beer. Like, a craft beer was $8 per pint. And that, we just were not willing to spend that much. We got some, like, I think we got some good beer at the grocery store, but we were like, nope, we're not going to spend a whole bunch of money. I don't know, maybe if we'd had more money at that point in the trip, or if we were just going to Ireland, we would have been able to, like, pay to do some fun things. We might have liked Dublin a little bit better, but we really didn't like it that much. So we just kind of strolled around, stocked up on food, went back to the hostel, and we got some apologies from the Belfast boys because they had sobered up at this point in the afternoon. So they apologized for being so crazy. And I don't know, that was kind of it. We just went to bed really early because we were super tired. Dodger and I finally tried the showers again later. We decided, okay, team effort, there's stalls, there's like shower stalls. So we're like, okay, if the showers are crappy, we're just gonna like take as fast a shower as we can, and we can pass the shampoo and stuff underneath the stall door. And it was okay. We pushed the button and like lukewarm water but with pressure was coming out. So we're like, okay, this might happen, right? So we're like, as fast as we can, like shampooing hair and everything. But sure enough, as soon as like we're almost done, but there was still like soap in some places, like, you know, around the eyes and things that need to be rinsed out of hair, we push the button and a trickle comes out. And it's a scalding hot trickle too. So I like put my arm up there so the trickle would run down it. I'm like flicking water on myself. It was the worst hostel ever. Dodger and I were cracking up laughing too, because we're like, this is so ridiculous. We don't even know how this could be any more ridiculous. So yeah, we got the heck out of there the next morning. We were supposed to leave anyway, but we left, got on a bus that was late. We stood in the freezing cold morning air waiting for a bus to take us to the airport so we could get a car. The lady was rude at the desk and we got charged a bunch of extra fees. I know this is sounding super awesome, isn't it? I'm so positive in this video. This is what happened though. I can't help it. And then we wandered around forever. We finally found our car. It was actually an okay car. I think it was a Chevy even, which is weird. I'm like, what? Aren't you going to give us like a Fiat or a Volkswagen? We get a Chevy? And it was a stick shift. I did not upgrade because we'd already been driving on the other side of the road for like a week. So I decided that we're okay now. We can shift with this hand. So anyway, took off from there and we headed towards Galway and saw some really beautiful countryside. And I'm thinking that all the people that we had talked to, like that we met on this trip, and people that had already been to Ireland before we ever had and told us how awesome it was, I'm thinking they weren't talking about Dublin, because everything outside of Dublin was great, but Dublin itself, we did not have a good time, obviously. Now, I'm not saying if you guys went that you wouldn't have a good time, but that was just our experience, and I'm just telling you how it was for us. So anyway, that's all I'm going to do for this video, is just Dublin, and next time we will talk about some more of Ireland, starting with Galway. So I will see you guys later.